Hello violinists, welcome to the Pro Am Strings Violin School. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 24 of the violin class for beginners. And today we are going to learn number 43 in the red book, which is number 58 in the older version of the book. Now I'm very much aware that there are two little differences in the two versions. In the red book there are two notes slurred and two notes separate bows. In the older version of the book, everything is written as separate bows. So we're going to practice today the version with the separate bows first, and then before we finish this lesson we'll also play it slurred. So let's play this. Feel free to join in with me straight away. So we're going to play everything on the upper half of the bow with separate bows. So we're going to get ready in the middle of the bow. Right here, we're on the D string, and let's just check your bow hold. So I want you to think that your middle two fingers are nice and far over the bow today. And I just want you to double check that your thumb is bent underneath. So here we are in the middle of the bow. Check over your left hand, your finger line, your thumb and your tennis ball. And when we're ready, off we go after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done if you've managed that all the way through. So you will have noticed that there is a certain pattern to this tune. And let's just think about that pattern for a moment, because if you start to spot patterns in your music, it makes your progress much quicker because you understand what this piece is about much better. So your playing will benefit hugely if you start to spot these patterns. Take a look at the first note of the first bar. Is a D, isn't it? In the middle of the bar, the third note is also a D. Now take a look at the second bar and you'll find that your first note is a 1. And at the half bar, you also have got a first finger. The next bar starts on a 2 and the 2 comes again in the middle of the bar. And the next bar starts on a 3 and you have again a 3 in the middle of the bar. Then 4 in the following bar, 4. The next bar is 3, 3. The next bar is 2, 2. And the last bar is a little bit of a variation. It's not the same as our pattern. Although we start on that first note, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Now starting to spot these patterns will help your learning tremendously. So I will always encourage you, you'll find, to try and spot these patterns, you see. Now this time, let's play it again, and let's see if we can hover all your fingers over the strings when you play. So we're still playing separate bows and on the upper half, but now I want you to really work to twist your forearm like that, so that you get a really nice hovering of all your fingers above the string. Let's get ready now after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely job. And you'll notice when you hover your fingers above the strings more, you have to travel much less with your fingers to reach the strings whenever you play your notes, you see. So that is a good habit to have. Right, when you play at the upper half of the bow, you will have to remember to push that bow arm forwards to keep a straight bow. We've seen in the past as well, if your hand goes here, your bow is at an angle here where it's on the string. So you want to make sure that you push your bow arm forward so your bow is always straight. Let's practice it one more time, and I want you to really work to stretch your bow arms so that it's in front of your body. Here we go. One more time before we start to slur it next time. Ready? Check out your finger line, your thumb, your tennis ball. So we're working on every single aspect of your playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is coming along beautifully now, isn't it? So now let's see if we can slur 2 notes and then play 2 notes separate bows, then 2 notes slurred, 2 notes separate bows. Now when we slur 2 notes that we used to play each note on half a bow, you can imagine how 2 notes slurred comes on a whole bow. And now that we're slurring every first 2 notes of every bar, so if you are playing from an old version, you might grab a pencil and write in your slurs, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you look here, you've got 2 notes slurred, 2 notes separate bows, 2 notes slurred, 2 notes separate bows, 2 notes slurred, 2 notes separate bows, and so you carry on all along to the end of this song. 2 notes slurred, 2 notes separate bows. So the 2 slurred notes, they go on one whole bow. The 2 separate bows go either at the point of the bow or at the heel of the bow, and they alternate, which we'll find out. So when we play alternately 2 notes slurred and 2 notes separate bows, your separate bows are going to end up either at the lower half of the bow or at the upper half of the bow. So let's think about how that might work, shall we? So here we go from the start, and we're starting this time at the heel of the bow. So this end after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. when you play this with the slurs, you want to really work on making your bows as long as possible. So you use absolutely the whole bow. And of course, you'll change your finger in the middle of the bow. And you might tap that finger in the middle of your slur quite nicely onto the string, so you define very clearly where that note begins. And I'll show you what the difference is in sound if you do tap your finger or if you don't. So I'm playing the first slur in your piece, so the D and the first finger on D. Listen to this. So now I really quickly put my finger down, so with a little bit of a tap on the fingerboard. If I don't do that, it sounds like this. Can you hear? It's a very vague start of my first finger. I'll do it wrong again. And can you hear? Can you hear the difference when I drop my finger down with a bit more speed? Then you get a much fresher sound. Now you hear this even more clearly when you play from the first finger to the second finger. So whilst my fingers are hovering above the string, I'm trying to tap the finger. Can you hear that? So let's practice that on our next playing, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. You have progressed so much with this piece. That was really wonderful. Well done. In our next lesson, we're going to expand on this tapping of your fingers a little bit further. So I very much look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.